Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'd like to talk about communication blind spot. So let me ask you, have you ever been in a situation where you have this conflict with another person, be it a workplace or in your daily interactions? Of course, everyone has conflict. If you have two or three friends, there's bound to be conflict, disagreements, arguments. So, and that happens within families as well. Maybe it's in human nature, but we must ask ourselves, is this happening because of the way we are communicating with each other? If that's the case, what is really going on here? What is wrong with the way we are communicating? Well, I propose that there's this blind spot in communication. This may be more easily understood in terms of visual blind spot that we are aware of. It's that area in the back of your eye that does receive visual information. However, it does not send any information to the brain to be processed. Therefore, there is no information visually if light, if object, the light hits the object and reaches that part of the eye. So we think of this when we're driving. We have to be aware of the blind spot. We're taught to be aware of it and understand that our field of view is limited. To address it, we have to turn our head and check our blind spot physically and not just rely on the side mirrors. So visual blind spot arises from the limitation of our body. It's the physiology, it's the way our body is made up, and everyone has it. We just need to be aware of it and accept it. In the same way, I believe communication blind spot, the way we communicate with others, process information, and react to people, and how we can influence other people. I believe that such blind spot exists that can lead to conflict with other people, interpersonal conflict. And I believe everyone suffers from it. You are probably suffering from one conflict or another. And we accept that it is the limitation of our mind, the way that our mind is structured, the way it is made up, that gives rise to such limiting field of view, field of awareness of our own emotions, of our own need to communicate in certain ways. So, what are some of the solutions that we can think about? Well, I propose as Zen or mindfulness practice can help address such conflict. So when we start doing mindfulness practice, we hear of things like empty your mind, do active listening, don't be distracted, be present here and now, and focus on ourselves. Empty our mind so that we can see clearly what's going on outside. And once you keep doing that, it almost feels as if there is no such thing as interpersonal conflict. Rather, it is more of an intra-personal. It's self-reflection. So whatever it seems to be happening with someone else, if you go into this mindfulness practice, there's actually just some sort of conflict within ourselves. And if we are blind to that, we may take it out upon that person outside and things will escalate. So Of course, can be interpersonal conflict if someone is harassing you or physically um, doing things to you. However, subtle emotional turbulences that we experience day to day due to other people. So we put blame on other people, we complain about others, how they're not meeting our needs. Most of it, I think, once you do this mindfulness practice, can be because of our unreasonable expectation of others or just unmet needs that can be met within ourselves. So that was just some notion that I did not think about when I was preparing this speech to my Toastmasters group. But one person pointed out maybe what I'm talking about, even though I mentioned an example, an interpersonal conflict that I was having in terms of talking about the blind spot and the limitation of our own mind, it is fair to say to link it to an intrapersonal conflict and the solution, and mindfulness being a solution to solving or resolving intrapersonal conflict. And that doesn't mean there won't be any interpersonal conflict, but the likelihood of that decreases manifold. So, to sum up, are you suffering from an interpersonal conflict? If so, then be aware that you may have a communication blind spot, just like everyone else. Everyone else, all of us have a limitation due to the structure of our mind. We are not fully aware, we cannot be. However, through a Zen or mindfulness practice, think of sayings like empty your mind, actively listen. These things can help us to reflect upon ourselves and give full attention to the matter at hand. And it's always about how we respond to a perceived interpersonal conflict that can really help us to find, in a sense, calm and be in control of our emotions, not a slave to what others may be doing to manipulate us or to gaslight us or what have you. So be sure to really accept the reality that we constantly need to check our blind spot and do these mindfulness practice embedded into your life so that you can understand yourself better, increase self-awareness, and hopefully avoid any interpersonal conflict, which is kind of like the crash when you don't just stay in your lane, but change lanes. You need to check your blind spot. Just like that, in our day-to-day interactions with others, we must check the lane, check our blind spot in order to avoid conflict. So thanks for listening. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.